Like that's fantastic, man. Like from where I know you were a year ago to hearing those numbers now makes me like super excited. Him to his house make 350 grand a year in his first year net to his household, from only 48,000 in marketing spend. I mean, that's insane numbers.
But we we built it. It's easy to get lost in all of the people you can market to. Like, oh,
Oh
I
my
got to
God,
hit
yeah.
X, delinquent, absentee, whatever. It's like you don't. You just take stacked, vacant, and ouchies, and you create a consistent marketing flow for them. If you want to build above and beyond that and do like deep prospecting or go, like you can. But when I started, that's all I did. Just those three buckets. REISift like did the work for me. All I had to do was send it to a
Oh,
demo.
you're talking about the default buckets, the ones that are
Yeah.
just in there. Ouchies,
Yes.
yeah, vacant. Yeah, that's really interesting. We in the data knowledge challenge now, we actually turned it to where we kind of simplified even more because people were still overcomplicating that, right? Where we say, hey, just choose one vexation, whether it ends up being stacked or vacant or anything, and just work from the top down, because if it's stacked, it's going to be at the top, and vacant will be, spitter splattered in there. But it is really impressive how, if you just sit down. So what I would like to know, because I think this is what people struggle with, Jacob, is like, how did you how did you internalize and actually take what it is that from an education perspective and actually implement? Like where do you think what is the bridge of gap there? I mean, do you have any things that you do? Like, do you sit down and write it on a piece of paper? Do you mind map it on a tool? I mean, or do you just take bits and pieces and implement them one at a time? Like, how do you visualize what it is that you're planning out?
So from when I got started with REISift and this new company a little over a year ago, I sat down and at the time it was a different challenge, right? It was the auto lead gen challenge. But
Yeah.
I sat down, I took like tons and tons of notes, and I said, you know what? I'm going to accept the fact that I may not know how to do this better right now, like, which is kind of hard, I think, for a lot of people to do. And I'm just going to follow the direction without trying to assume I can figure out how to change things for the better. And like you tweak over time based on your market, based on your business. But I followed the auto lead gen challenge at the time. I listened to the YouTube videos that were put out about setting up a sequence in Calltools, right? What your campaigns should look like, what you should look for. I watched your KPI course and I just implemented those things at first.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is don't think beyond yourself initially. You're paying for certain things because people have proven that it works. Just implement, know that, trust the process, do a bit at a time. And then as you get proficient and prove to yourself that you can be consistent with even that, then start taking the experience that you gain, and altering and creating your own process and flows from that and document those and turn them into what it is that is, blue sky, right?
Exactly. Like now we have a trainual that's fully built out for our company and our processes and how we do certain things, right?
Yeah.
But we couldn't have gotten there if we didn't take a lean and more frugal approach and just followed the REISift methodology. Whereas the place I came from before that, and it's not to be bashful or anything, it's like taking direct mail as your primary approach. A lot of people have to put 10 or 15 grand in the hole before they see a deal. And there are plenty of people who do extremely well with direct mail, but that didn't fit my risk appetite. Hiring one
Right.
cold caller is easier to stomach, and scale up from there.
Yeah, and it's not to say that, like, because I get this all the time. It's not to say you can't do that, right? Even in being an REISift user, we have a lot of REISift users that literally just use REISift just to upload data, export to send direct mail campaigns, and that's all they use it for. And that's fine. You can do that. I think that they're
Yep.
losing a bunch of money. They could be doing a lot more. However, you can do that, right? But to me, fundamentally, how you have your business right now, like it is like primed in I'm working on my private pilot's license right now, and so like when you're pulling up and you get to the ramp, right, and you're waiting to go take off, you go through your checklist and everything. But even before that, before you boot up the aircraft, you got to you always prime before you start. Well, at least on 172s, and so that's how I look at it. Like right now, you're primed already, right? You've done all that. You're already at stage to take off, but your business at this very moment, it still hasn't even taken off from the runway. But your checklist is finished. You have primed the aircraft. You have fuel. You've done everything that's needed to make sure that like you're ready to ramp. And as soon as if you hired like another VA and you to handle another type of data set, right? Even for example, like that, already that hey, this is proven and it works. And so if you add in more bulk and you can add more to your business right now and take off and increase altitude without knowing that without the concern that there's like fuel shooting out the back of your aircraft is essentially what I'm trying to explain. Like your stuff is really dialed in. When it's dialed in like this and you can produce revenue how you're producing revenue now, then you can produce revenue up here. However, the reverse isn't the same. If you bulk market and you smash and you send a bunch of direct mail and everything, you're creating revenue and something changes in the market, there's no guarantee that you can still survive down here. Because a lot of businesses thrive off of just pushing out money and just making money back. That's how they thrive, right? And so it's like an influencer that relies solely on influencer money, but then their Instagram account gets banned. Well, it sucks because there goes, your core revenue source. You don't understand all your numbers. You're relied on just that. And so I love what you have going on, and I'm super excited to see what the rest of 2022 looks like.